Hi guys, very good evening. My name is Utkarsh and welcome to the YouTube channel of LegalEdge by Top Rankers. आज का टॉपिक इज TS CET दैट इज तेलंगाना CET एंड इसमें अपन बात करने वाले हैं क्या एग्जाम पैटर्न है, क्या एलिजिबिलिटी है, सिलेबस क्या है, सोर्सेज क्या होंगे हमारी प्रिपरेशन के एंड ऑल्सो द कॉलेजेस एज वेल, राइट। तो अच्छे कॉलेजेस इसमें आपको मिलते हैं। तो समवन हु इज फ्रॉम तेलंगाना या इवन आसपास के स्टेट्स के दे डेफिनेटली डू टारगेट दिस एग्जामिनेशन। अच्छे कॉलेजेस हैं जस्ट लाइक MHCT, जस्ट लाइक APCET, राइट। तो अच्छे कॉलेजेस आपको मिलते हैं इसमें। तो अपन इसके बारे में कंप्लीटली डिस्कस करने वाले हैं इन द नेक्स्ट 15-20 मिनट्स, राइट। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। नंबर वन जो अपना क्राइटेरिया रहेगा, मतलब ओवरव्यू, कौन कौन सी चीजों पे बात करने वाले। नंबर वन इज इंट्रोडक्शन। तो एग्जाम है क्या बेसिकली, कि कौन से कॉलेजेस के लिए, उस पर बात करेंगे। एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया सुपर डुपर इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट। क्या एज रिस्ट्रिक्शन है, नहीं है, कितना परसेंटेज चाहिए होता है, उन सारी चीजों पे वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस। Number three, we are going to discuss about the paper pattern, what the paper consists of, कौन से sections हैं, the types of questions that have been asked in the previous year, that also we are going to discuss. Next is the syllabus, that is क्या कि what are the topics, prominent topics to be covered for in order to get good marks in this particular examination. And last but definitely not the least is the colleges. So there are around 31 colleges in TS CET, good colleges. They can you can get into those colleges and complete your graduation, right? So start करते हैं with introduction. तो TS CET है क्या, to get exam to get admission into the colleges in law colleges in Telangana. So just like MHCET or just like APCET, which is for Andhra Pradesh, MHCET for Maharashtra, there is TSCET as well, which is specifically for the state of Telangana, right? अब eligibility criteria, तो देखो दो criteria है. Number one, you must have been 12th pass. ठीक है, तो if you have passed your 12th and your schooling is over, it is important that you must have got at least 45% for the general category and 42% for OBC and 40% for SC/ST category, right? So तीन criteria है. For general category, it is 45, which is applicable in almost all the examinations, be it CLAT, ALET, सारे examinations में common है, and that is 45%. 42% if you are from OBC category, and 40% if you belong to SC or ST category. Number two, definitely you can give examination when you are in your 12th exam, 12th board, right? So you can just keep it as passing year, right? Yeah, appearing. So someone who has done the 12th examination, वहां पे mandatory कि you must have got 45% marks, 42% marks or 40% marks as the case may be, depending upon आप कौन सी कैटेगरी में है। अगर आप अपेयर कर रहे हैं इस साल इन योर 12th एग्जामिनेशन, तो आप अपेयरिंग डालेंगे। एंड वन मोर थिंग टू कीप इन माइंड इज देयर इज नो एज रिस्ट्रिक्शन। सो जस्ट लाइक CLAT, ALET or any other examination, any other law examination, there is no age restriction. So earlier they used to happen that in CLAT and ALET the age limit was 21 years, right? But later on in 2014, 2015 it was removed, and since then there has been no age limit, right? तो एज लिमिट नहीं है इसमें, इसका ध्यान रखना। नेक्स्ट इज पेपर पैटर्न क्या होता है। सो इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ 3 सेक्शंस, ठीक है। ऑनलाइन एग्जामिनेशन होता है, देयर आर 3 सेक्शंस। पार्ट ए, जनरल नॉलेज एंड मेंटल एबिलिटी। सो व्हाट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट आर आस्क्ड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन। जनरल नॉलेज बेसिक है, इट विल इंक्लूड योर जनरल साइंस, हिस्ट्री, सिविक्स, ज्योग्राफी एंड एवरीथिंग, राइट। तो जितना भी स्टैटिक जीके आपका होता है, इट कम्स अंडर जीके। मेंटल एबिलिटी में यू विल फाइंड AR, दैट इज एनालिटिकल रीजनिंग। यू विल फाइंड क्वेश्चंस ऑन मैथ्स एज वेल। सो मैथ के भी क्वेश्चंस होंगे, क्लॉक कैलेंडर्स के भी होंगे, ब्लड रिलेशंस के भी होंगे, एनालॉजी के भी होंगे, राइट। सो दीज आर द काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट आर आस्क्ड इन दिस पार्ट। तो जनरल नॉलेज, all the static GK, general science के भी questions थे. There have been questions asked on from bio as well, right? Science से भी questions आते हैं, physics के भी questions आए हैं, and history के definitely होता है, क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट कब आया था, या ये पर्टिकुलर बुक कौन से ऑथर ने लिखी थी। So these are the kind of questions that have been asked previously, right? From this particular part. Part B is current affairs. So you have to complete the current affairs of the past 1 year, right? So the examination is going to be most probably in the month of June, and Again, so from July to let's say April, May, you have to complete the current affairs for all the elitians or for all the students who had already prepared for CLAT. You must have completed at least 6 months of current affairs. That is from July to almost November, right? So just make sure that you are reading your current affairs daily, right? 30 marks, 30 questions का आपका current affairs है. Then the deciding section, which is aptitude for study of law. So 30, 30, and then 60. So total 120 marks का examination is this, and 120 questions, 120 marks to be done in 90 minutes. वो अपन अभी exam pattern पे आएंगे तब पता चलेगा, right? तो in this section or in this part, the questions are asked mostly on polity, right? So there will be questions on constitution, there will be questions on torts, contracts, crime, consti as well because polity bola hai. So you will find questions like who was the first woman judge of the Supreme Court, who was the first woman judge of the High Court. These are the kind of questions that have been asked. You will be asked questions on what is absolute liability, what is strict liability, what is the age of majority when it comes to contract, right? So all the static legal knowledge will be required here when it comes to aptitude for the study of law. So these are the topics, these are the kind of things which you'll have to do to do these 60 marks. So usually what happens in this kind of paper pattern is बहुत ज्यादा नॉलेज की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है राइट सो दिस इज नॉट समथिंग जो आपको पहले से बहुत ज्यादा आता होगा सो फॉर ऑल द किड्स हु हैड टेकन क्लैट you have that habit that a passage is given to you and then there are questions and the options, right? But in this, extra knowledge is required. Extra knowledge isn't you need to have that static knowledge. You need to have that knowledge that who was the first woman judge of the Supreme Court, or let's say who was the first judge of the Supreme Court, or the first Prime Minister of India, or the first President of India. But these are the kind of questions that have been asked, right? So in सबकी knowledge, in सबके लिए reading की जरूरत होगी. So you'll be reading polity, you will be revising your concepts from contracts, crime, consti, torts. So all these things will be required to get these 60 marks. The questions are easy, but reading की जरूरत होगी यहाँ पर because these are the things जो शायद आपने अभी तक नहीं किया होगा. Questions पूछने का तरीका अलग है. Definitely questions लेंदी नहीं होंगे. One liner questions हैं, not at all difficult for you to attempt, but you have to ensure that you have to ensure that you have thorough knowledge of all these subjects. Otherwise, that can become a problem as well, right? So you'll not find a passage which has all the information and you have to apply the information which has been given in the passage. You need to have that extra information. You need to have those readings with you, right? तो अगर वो reading है, अगर वो knowledge है, then only you will be able to mark the answers in this particular section. Now, moving ahead. So, the few important pointers. Maximum marks, 120 marks. 60 questions, a total of 10 questions will be based on or related to comprehension of legal passages, right? तो ये भी रहेगा. 5-year law course ले the expectation is of 10 plus 2. So when it comes to maths या mental ability, it will be of 10 plus 2 category only. ठीक है? 12th पास स्टूडेंट कैसे सोचता होगा उस टाइप की एक्सपेक्टेशन है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं, राइट? देखो, the questions in part C, aptitude for study of law, elementary knowledge of principles of law and constitution. So that's what I was saying. कि contracts, torts, crime, consti, right? And definitely polity as well because constitution has been mentioned, right? तो ये assumption रहेगा that you are aware of these kind of topics. So just remember that 120 questions, 90 minutes. I think time duration of the test will never be an issue because I'd gone through the past 3 years paper of this particular examination, and to be very honest, it is not time consuming. You will be left with a lot of time. It's just that it is important that you are able to solve those questions. You have knowledge of those questions, right? Time कम नहीं पड़ेगा. But ऐसा हो सकता है कि we are not aware of the topic, we are not aware of the answer, we have not read that particular topic. These are the things which might happen as well, right? So questions will be objective type. Obviously, subjective questions नहीं होंगे यहाँ पर. And there will be 4 options. Medium test will be English and Telugu and English and Urdu, right? So these are the languages in which you can take your test as well. Now, next is the qualifying marks. So the qualifying marks is 35%. So this is the minimum marks that you need to get. So what happens in a competitive examination is there's nothing like minimum qualifying marks when it comes to CLAT, ALET, even MHCT as well or SLAT as well, right? It's more like uh, it's more like a competitive examination in which rank is more important, right? तो rank दिखी जाती है. But यहाँ पर वो तो ठीक है रैंक तो एक बात है बट व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट टू गेट एटलीस्ट मिनिमम परसेंटेज इन द एग्जामिनेशन एंड just because you have got those 35% doesn't mean that you will get a seat. ये तो मिनिमम है इसके ऊपर ही आना चाहिए राइट इसके ऊपर रैंक देखी जाएगी इतना तो आपको लाना ही लाना है ठीक है दैट विच इज 42 मार्क्स आउट ऑफ 120 क्वेश्चंस और 120 मार्क्स for the students who belong to SC or ST category, there's no minimum qualifying percentage, right? So this is specifically for the candidates who belong to general category or the OBC category, right? For SC ST category, there's no minimum qualifying percentage. Acha, this has also been mentioned that it is not necessary कि just because you have got the minimum percentage, that will mean that you will be admitted to the college, right? और भी चीजें required है. You need to be appearing for the counseling at the notified centers. जो भी centers notify किए जाएंगे वहां पे you have to appear for the complete counseling process, and it applies in response to admission notification which is issued by the authority. तो जो भी क्राइटेरियाज रहेंगे whatever conditions have been listed उसको भी आपको satisfy करना पड़ेगा and all the eligibility conditions as well. Now ranking, so ranking as in suppose two students get the same marks, then what will happen? Let's say there are two candidates, candidate A and B, both have got 50 marks. Now who will be given preference, right? So उसके बारे में दिया गया what will number one criteria would be whoever has got more marks in part C, that is legal में, right? So someone who has scored more marks in the third part, that is of legal, he will be given preference, he or she will be given preference. Suppose both candidates have got same marks in the part C as well, then in that case someone who is more senior will be considered at the time of admission. So let's say there's a student who is of 18 years and 250 days, whereas there's a student who is of 17 years and 50 days. So preference will be given to the candidate who is of 18 years, right? इस बात का ध्यान रहे. And yes, it is whatever rank you have obtained in this examination will be valid for 3-year and 5-year law course, as the case में भी जिसमें भी आपने examination दिया है. इसका ध्यान रहे. And yes, this has also been mentioned that you just have to give one application form. You have to just submit one application form. Do not submit, and this has happened with a lot of candidates. They have filled 2 or 3 application forms. If you do that, then the authority has this, then the convener has this right that he or she can, that the convener can reject all of your applications. No fees will be refunded. So just ensure that you submit one form only, one application form, and you give all the correct information in that, right? So just ensure this as well. Otherwise, fees will be forfeited and your candidature will be cancelled. Now, next is the list of colleges. So these are the colleges which are there in this particular examination. So I'll also tell you about sources as well. So from where you can prepare all these things. For static GK, for all the elitians, you can read from your RSM's ranker study material. For all the non-elitians, you can go for LAWCET GK book, which is very good when it comes to polity or static GK. For maths, you can go for AR analytical reasoning or a book on logical reasoning from MK Pandey, right? That's a very good book for completing your mental ability wala part. For current affairs, you can complete from CLAT post. I think that is more than sufficient to cover for TS LAWCET, right? And for legal, definitely for all the elitians, go through your RSMs and even LAWCET GK or RSMs ka polity wala part. It is super duper important that you are well versed with the knowledge of constitution, right? There can be questions asked as to who among the following was not part of the Constituent Assembly, right? These are also the kind of questions which have been asked, right? So a lot of extra knowledge is required, a lot of reading into the polity, reading basic laws that is required, right? Now, when it comes to college, all these colleges are there. Approximately 31 colleges है, या exact भी बोल सकते हैं 31 colleges हैं in TS Law CET, right? So this is the list. And yes, two colleges have been included in the second phase of web counseling. So the examination takes place in two phases. Phase one में all the 29 colleges are there. In phase two, again, all the colleges have been mentioned, but these two are additional colleges just for the second phase of the examination, right? So I think this will be it from my side. A very good examination. All the candidates who are from Telangana or nearby states definitely do take this examination. Very prominent colleges. The question paper or the paper pattern is not that difficult. Sources very easily available, and definitely with a bit of practice. And do just one more thing, do take a lot of mock test, right? So in these kind of examinations, it is super duper important that you take a lot of mock test so that you get a knack of the questions that have been asked, right? तो क्वेश्चंस कैसे आते हैं वो आपको पता होना चाहिए, कहाँ से पढ़ना है वो आपको पता होना चाहिए, and yes, whatever the weak areas you have, whatever the weak topics are there, you need to analyze those topics, you need to read those topics a bit more, right? So that will be it from my side. Thank you so much and all the best.